Okay, let's see. We're talking oils, nitrates, mixing oils with veggies. Yesterday we left off the program talking about how important it is to mix oils with veggies, and we talked a little bit about this controversy around oils. Yes, oils are unstable and they're problematic, and as some nutritionists have pointed out, and somebody pointed out on the program a couple of days ago, even inside the body, oils can actually oxidize. Now, you do have antioxidants in the body that protects those oils from oxidizing. Oxidizing, by the way, is just a fancy way of saying rancid. An oxidized fat is a rancid fat. Fats attract oxygen. That's why they're important. One of the reasons why they're important, but it's also one of the reasons why they're problematic. They're oxygen magnets. In the body, cells will insert fatty acids to attract oxygen into that cell. This oxygen-attracting property is also what makes oils unstable. By the way, this is a big problem in the world of skincare. It's why I never formulate my skincare products with oil. In fact, if you ever see oil in a skincare product, that's a bad sign. Skincare manufacturers love to use oils because they're cheap and because people have been bamboozled into believing when you have an oil on your skin that you're moisturized. I don't want to digress too much on that subject because I want to save it for another day. But let me tell you something. If you're rubbing a moisturizing cream on your skin and you're thinking you're doing anything to moisturize your skin, you have been hypnotized and entranced and bamboozled because you've done nothing of the kind. Skincare is based on using oils and waxes because somehow we've been convinced that oils and waxes and the kind of oily, slick feeling on your skin that you get after you put your typical moisturizing product on is moisture. It is not moisture. It's anti-moisture. Not only will it not be moisture because oil and water don't mix, it's the opposite of moisture, but even worse, it's going to suppress your own natural moisture factors. When you seal your skin up with wax and oil like you do when you put on your typical moisturizing product, you suppress your natural moisture factors. That's another scandalous story, and we'll be talking about that in the coming days. In any case, oils are very, very important. Nutritional oils I'm talking about. Especially when it comes to vegetables. This whole idea of the fatty nature of vegetables is something that we need to address because when you look at your cucumber, it doesn't really look like it's fatty, or your celery or your pepper or your lettuce. But indeed, many of the nutrients in a leaf of lettuce or a leaf of spinach, which for all intents and purposes, if you're looking at it, it doesn't look like there's any fat in there, but if you look at it, if you are trying to get the nutritional value out of some of these green leafy vegetables, a lot of those nutrients are fatty, even though the leaf or the cucumber or the pepper doesn't look that way. And that's important because as we get older, we don't absorb our fats as well. Not only as we get older, but if we're compromised, if we have some kind of digestive compromise, intestinal compromise, Crohn's disease, celiac disease, if we have a liver problem, 30% of Americans have liver problems, if we've had a gallbladder removed, if we have pancreatic issues, and many people have undiagnosed pancreatic issues, if you're a diabetic, you're going to have pancreatic issues. If you have stomach problems, if you're not making hydrochloric acid in the stomach, all of these are going to compromise how well you access fatty nutrients from your leaf of lettuce or leaf of spinach. So you may think you're doing great by eating your veggies and eating your spinach, but you had your gallbladder removed, or you have any of these digestive issues, those phytonutrients in the spinach and the lettuce and the cucumber and the peppers and your wonderful organic salad are going to be relatively inaccessible to you. They're going to pass right through your body, and that's a problem. Everything in nature, in the way of chemistry, can be distinguished by how well the substances dissolve in either oil or water. So everything in nature, everything everywhere is chemical. All our foods are chemicals. All the nutrients in foods are chemicals, and these chemicals are either water-soluble primarily, they dissolve in water primarily, or fat-soluble primarily. They dissolve in oils or fats primarily. And this is a very, very fundamental distinction in chemistry and nutrition, in the body, in biology, in everything when it comes to chemicals. Then everything's chemicals. So everything is either going to be water-soluble primarily or fat-soluble primarily. And this is maybe the most important distinction in all of nutrition, whether a molecule dissolves in oil or whether it dissolves in water. If you're a scientist or a researcher, you'll say polar or non-polar. And I'm not going to go there, but just for you chemists out there, if you like chemistry anyway, things that are polar things tend to dissolve in fat. Things that are non-polar tend to dissolve in water. We'll just call it water-soluble and fat-soluble. Either way, substances that dissolve in water have a certain characteristic, and substances that dissolve in oil have a certain characteristic. Think peanut butter and jelly. You make yourself a nice peanut butter and jelly sandwich. You take your knife and you dip it in the peanut butter, spread on your bread, and then you take the knife and another knife and you dip it in a jelly and you spread on your bread, and then you throw the 2 knives in your sink. You have one knife with peanut butter and one knife with jelly. And then you run water on the knives. Which knife do you think is going to get clean first without soap? Well, obviously the jelly. The water will rinse it right off because jelly's water soluble. Now you can run that water on top of your knife with peanut butter and the water's going to bounce off. If you look closely, you'll actually see the little water droplets are bouncing off the peanut butter. Why? Because the peanut butter is oil soluble, and that, my friends, is a clue. That, my friends, tells you what happens in the body when you eat a fat or a fatty substance and when you eat an oil, when you eat a water or watery substance. Think peanut butter and jelly. When you eat a water-soluble substance, the nutrients are much more accessible. They rinse clean off the food, if you will, into the body. But the fat-soluble material doesn't. The fat-soluble material, just like your peanut butter on the knife in the sink, requires soap. So your fatty nutrients, in a way, require soap inside the body. And you know what? Your body makes soap. Literally, it makes a kind of soap to break free, to dissolve those fatty substances out of the veggies. And this is very important to understand, especially when it comes to nitrates and especially when it comes to nutritional or edible oils. We'll continue when we come back. I'm Pharmacist Ben. If you're on hold, hang tight. We'll get to your calls when we come back in our second segment. Okay, so there's a primary distinction in the world of nutrition, in all of chemistry: water-soluble, fat-soluble. Technically, we say hydrophilic or lipophilic. And this distinction is super important to understand for nutrition. It's really important to understand when it comes to skin health as well. And I'm going to be talking skin health here probably in the next few weeks. I have a new, some of you have been writing me about the Truth Skincare skin health products. I'm calling them skin health products because they're going to address the health of the skin. They're going to be, in essence, nutritional supplements for your skin, topical nutritional supplements. I've been meaning to do this for many years. I got involved with the business folks who weren't hip to the expense that topical skincare, topical skin health products require. So I had to kind of dumb down my products in the past. I'm not going to be doing that with this, with these new products. I do have we'll be talking about that in the coming days. Anyway, everything in nature, water-soluble, fat-soluble, think peanut butter and jelly. Peanut butter is oil-soluble. It does require soap to get your peanut butter off the knife. It doesn't require soap to get your jelly off the knife. Likewise, in the body, it does require a kind of soap to free or liberate the fatty nutrients from your spinach and cucumber and lettuce. And even though they don't look fatty, there are fatty nutrients there. A lot of these fatty nutrients are present in very tiny trace amounts. We call them phytonutrients, plant nutrients. Things like beta-carotene and zeaxanthin and lutein and polyphenols and coumarin. They got all kinds of names. But the take-home message is they're available in plants and in vegetables and fruits, in veggies, in vegetable material, in very, very trace amounts. And they're hard to access. And they're super important for health. In fact, we don't call them essential. They're not part of the mighty 90. And they're not considered to be essential, but in my opinion, they are essential in the sense your body can't make them, but you need them. Now, we didn't know they existed when vitamins were first discovered because they were present in such trace amounts. We didn't have the electron microscopy and the high-tech detection devices to really find these phytonutrients. Nobody really knew about them until 40 years ago, 50 years ago, and by then all the vitamins had been discovered, supposedly, and the essential nutrients were all determined, and so now we don't consider these phytonutrients to be in the same category as the vitamins and other mighty 90 essential nutrients, but in my opinion, they should be, and that means you need them, and that means if you have a fat absorption problem, you better make sure you're using soap, nutritional soap. What's nutritional soap? Well, one of the best forms of nutritional soap is called bile, B-I-L-E. It's one of the reasons why we always talk about bile salts on this program. You can think of bile salts as nutritional soap that scrubs away the phytonutrients, the flavonoids, and the carotenes. It doesn't scrub them away. That liberates them out of the spinach and out of the lettuce, frees them so they can be absorbed. Vitamin D, E, A, K, essential fatty acids, they're all fatty. They all need to be liberated. And that's why if you mix your veggies with a little bit of oil, you're going to, in essence, pre-digest or pre-process those veggies, making the phytonutrients and the fatty vitamins and the essential fatty acids and also minerals, zinc and selenium in particular, more readily accessible. And this is so important, and it's one of the reasons why, in my opinion, you do want to make sure you're using butter and coconut oil with your veggies. Now, you can do it on salads. You have to use I don't know if coconut oil and butter would taste great on salads because you have a little heat to kind of activate the flavor, but certainly a little bit of flaxseed oil. It's cold pressed and kept in a cold bottle or a cold place in a dark bottle. That can also help you access those fatty nutrients. So much more I want to say here. I think I'm going to tell you about a little bit more about coconut oil. We'll talk about MCTs, medium chain triglycerides. When I worked at University Hospital in Denver as a pharmacist, I had I worked in a place called PEDS ICU, Pediatrics Intensive Care Unit, and Neonatal ICU. And it was sort of a good job in a way. I felt like I was helping kids, but it was really sad. Kids would die all the time, and they were there because they were really sick, mostly because they had digestive issues. They were born with immature or premature digestive tracts, and they couldn't absorb things, and they couldn't absorb fats, especially when you have a premature, a preemie baby, or you have a premature digestive tract or immature digestive tract, you don't absorb fats. So a lot of these babies were given MCT oils. We used to have to dispense MCT oils, excuse me, to these kids. And the MCT oil, what do you think it was? It was coconut oil. And the reason we had to give these kids coconut oil and MCT oil is because MCT oil has an amazing, amazing property that is distinct, unique in the world of fats. There's no fats like MCT oils when it comes to this wonderful property. And coconut oil is 60% MCT oil. I think I'm going to say this for our next Bright Side episode on Monday. We'll talk MCTs, and then we'll continue talking about nitrates and veggies. Got a full board here. When you hear somebody drop off, give us a shout, 844-236-6010. Let's go off to Kelly in South Carolina. What's up, Kelly?
Hey, how are you, Ben? Thank you for taking my call.
Sure. What's going on?
Yeah, and hey, thank you for talking about phytonutrients.
Good deal. How do you know?
I'm a big proponent of that.
Are you in the biz? Are you a herbalist? Or?
Well, I'm a chef, and I've been 100% organic for about 27 years.
Nice. What do you think about the idea of using fats with veggies?
Love it. I eat coconut. I eat cold-pressed coconut, organic coconut oil every day.
Very nice. Very nice. What's going on? How can we help you?
And I also wanted to tell you, I'm really into the primal eating. I'm grain-free.
Good for you.
It's great for autoimmune. I think it's great for your autoimmune system. I eat only grass-fed.
Are you a professional chef, or you just do it in your spare time?
Yeah, I have been for a long time. But
very nice.
I have something. I'm growing some fenugreek microgreens right now.
Fenugreek? Did you say?
Yeah.
Dude, fenugreek is the bomb. That's getting set to be the next big thing for menopausal issues, and for diabetes and for menopausal issues. That's getting set to be the next.
That's exactly why I called you, was that, I'm going through, I'm 47, and I'm going through perimenopause pretty heavily right now. And one of the things I'm kind of trying to get to the root of is how to treat it. Of course, when you go to the
perimenopause?
Well, I'm almost full menopausal according to my estrogen levels.
How are your periods? Do you still have a monthly period?
I haven't had one now for 8 months.
Well, what makes you think that sounds like menopause? That doesn't sound like perimenopause.
I'm pretty close. I guess they tested my levels, and let's just say you're full on, right? But they wanted to give me, of course, big pharma, which I don't support at all.
Okay, good for you. Well, nor do I.
Unless, broken leg, heart attack, something
That's
like that.
That's about it.
About going to the doctor, but
pain pills. Everybody should have some pain pills. I believe pain pills. You need pain pills.
Rats and lab coats.
I agree.
Rats and a lab coat. But what I wanted to ask you about was, besides just doing the fenugreek and the microgreens, so I'm getting the phyto and I'm getting it in a really strong concentration, and I know, I'm growing it from organic sprouting seed and the whole bit. What else would you recommend?
In the way of herbs?
Yeah.
Oh, there's lots of great herbs for perimenopause. Now, I want to ask you, though, about the fenugreek. You're sprouting your fenugreek, did you say?
Yeah, I'm sprouting it and turning it into microgreen.
That is very, very fascinating. We got to take a break, Kelly. So hang tight, because I want to talk to you a little bit more about that, and then we'll talk to you about some good herbs. Although I'm not big on herbs necessarily, because they're medicines, but still, there's some good herbs that you can use for hot flashes and some of the symptoms associated with menopause. By the way, a study just came out about hot flashes, how they persist after menopause. We'll talk about that too. Okay, we are back on the bright side. 844-236-6010 is our number. Last Monday from JAMA, study just came out. This was Journal of Internal Journal of the American Medical Association Internal Medicine, a study was published on Monday. Hot flashes usually persist for years. Interesting. If you go to a doctor, endocrinologist or a OBGYN or a regular doctor or even just a layperson, you ask them about hot flashes, they're going to say, well, we don't know about hot flashes. We don't know what causes them. They'll give you some gobbledygook about the hypothalamus in the brain and fluctuations in hormones. Here's what hot flashes are, you guys. They're a sign of bodily stress, period. That's all they are. There's nothing confusing about them, and it makes perfect sense that they would persist for years. Why? Because as we get older, we don't absorb our nutrients as well, and if we're subsisting on the standard American diet, that puts a lot of stress on the body. Well, guess what? Hot flashes are a manifestation of a body that's screaming, a body in major, major distress. And this is why hot flashes usually persist for years, according to JAMA Internal Medicine. What that means is menopause or perimenopause, or any of the symptoms really of degenerative diseases, are really all the same thing. They're just a body that's freaked out. And when the body's freaked out, you don't have to do much to calm the body down. You certainly don't need to go to a doctor. In fact, you probably shouldn't go to a doctor when you have a freaked out body that's manifesting hot flashes or inflamed or autoimmunity or degenerative diseases. You calm the body down by fasting. You reduce your intake of foods. You make sure you're on a nutritional supplement program. You stay away from the crappy stuff. You exercise a little bit. You deep breathe. And you access your spiritual and mental and emotional capacities for healing. And it's as simple as that, really, whether it's hot flashes or heart disease or diabetes or whatever. Health is not complicated, you guys. We've been bamboozled into believing we need authorities and medical professionals the way medieval peasants were bamboozled into believing they needed the priest to go to God. They used to tell you, the medieval peasants, give us some money and we'll talk to God for you and then we'll get you into heaven. Today the doctor takes that role. He says, give us some money and we'll lower your cholesterol scores. We can't do anything for your heart disease, but we can lower your cholesterol scores. And by the way, did you guys read about the whole cholesterol thing? Now doctors say, oh, you don't have to worry so much about cholesterol. I'm telling you. All right. I'm Pharmacist Ben. 844-236-6010 is our number. Kelly, what's going on? Let's finish up. I was going to tell you some herbs.
Okay, go for it.
All right. Vitex, V-I-T-E-X.
Okay.
Dong Quai, D-O-N-G-Q-U-A-I. Both black cohosh and blue cohosh. In fact, I think it's blue cohosh is actually an over-the-counter medicine called Remifemin that women will use for perimenopause. And by the way, you can make your own herbal medicine. You know this probably, Kelly. I want to ask you about your fenugreek, but for the listeners, you don't need to spend a lot of money on herbal medicine. Herbs are weeds. They shouldn't be expensive. You just go to Whole Foods or go to a health food store, go to an herb store if you're so lucky to. So if you're fortunate enough to have an herb store in your community, you can get them off the internet. Call Frontier Herbs. And get just high-quality herbs, get some glycerin or some alcohol or both, and just crush your herbs up and let them sit in some alcohol or glycerin or oil or all three. And then all the medicine will come out in the various solvents that you're using. And then you got yourself a tincture. Filter it out, and you got yourself your own herbal medicine. So black cohosh, blue cohosh, red clover, Vitex, Dong Quai. There's probably a couple other ones I'm missing, but that's a good start for you.
Yeah, and I'm a huge fan of Frontier.
Frontier's great, yeah. And then also fenugreek, as you mentioned. Fenugreek's got some really interesting hormonal properties and anti-diabetic properties. Now, what were you saying about sprouting? You call them microgreens?
Microgreens.
Oh, microgreens, okay.
Yeah, so basically you're growing it up further from a sprout, which I grow mine in coconut coir, which is the ground-up hulls from coconut. It's a great growing medium. There's a lot of informational stuff on YouTube about how to grow microgreens. It's a step above sprouting in the sense that, you know what I mean? That
so there's more nutritional value in the plant. Yeah, that's nice.
Microgreens. Issues with bacteria, mold, things like that. So it's a little bit more of a mature green, but it's right before it gets its first true leaves. So it's really, really good. But you were talking about those fats earlier and how, I just wanted to put a plug in for people eating ghee, butter oil from like pastured, grass-fed cow and tallow.
right,
and lard, all from like pastured animals. Those animal fats are also tremendous for you.
They sure are. Grass-fed. You're talking about grass-fed.
Yeah, all grass-fed are all pastured, meaning like the chickens are pastured. They're not fed a bunch of grain and crap and stuff. But anyway, yeah.
CLA.
I
Do you know about
the fat?
Do you know about CLA, conjugated linoleic acid?
Yeah.
It's a wonderful nutrient, and it's found in grass, and also the dairy of grass-fed animals. Anything else I can help you with? That was very informative. I appreciate it.
You've been great. I found your show about I don't know, it's been about 4 months ago. Listen pretty much every day, and really love what you're offering to everybody. And God bless you for it.
God bless you as well. Have a beautiful day. Thanks for your call, Kelly. Appreciate it.
Yep.
Take care. That was awesome. Appreciate that. All right, let's go to Holly in where are you, Holly? North Dakota or Nebraska?
I'm in Harrisburg, Nebraska.
Hi, Holly. What's up?
My son has Sotos syndrome, and part of that is his muscles are weak, and his muscles are weak in his digestive system. So
I'm sorry, what kind of syndrome? I didn't recognize.
It's called Sotos syndrome, S-O-T-O.
Sotos syndrome. Okay, tell me about that, because I don't know what that is. Never heard that.
Well, his the main thing with it is he has weak muscles.
Are you talking about gigantism?
No, it's not that. It's he'll stop growing. He is bigger. He's always been in the 90th percentile for size. He's 5 and he looks like he's 7 or 8 years old.
Okay.
But he's going to stop growing eventually. So it's not.
But they technically, I think they call it gigantism. That's how I know it as. I think that's what you're talking about. I don't mean that he's gigantic.
I know what you're saying. But I guess the main issue is digestive system's weak, and he's always constipated and has nonstop bowel movements. And I'm wondering if there's something we can do to improve.
Yes, absolutely,
that condition.
Absolutely. Did you say he's always constipated, or he feels like he always has to go? I didn't catch that.
Well, he's constipated, but because he's constipated, it's nonstop bowel movements because he never fully eliminates what's in his digestive system.
Okay, so it doesn't sound like he's constipated, though. Constipation sounds like, to me, it sounds like he's just constantly having to eliminate. Constipation is when he can't eliminate. Is that what you're saying, or he can't?
No, that's what the doctors say. The doctors tell me he's constipated.
Okay, well, either way, he's got a freaked out digestive system.
He does, and it's the muscles. So I'm wondering if
it could be the food, though. I'm not sure if it's the muscles. It could be the food.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm willing to do it.
Yeah, that's what you want to do. That's just how you want to approach it, okay?
Okay.
You want to see if you can, when his digestive symptoms get worse, you want to keep track of what he ate. So you're going to need to keep track of what he eats all the time, and then keep track of his bowel movements and his bowel movement issues. And then you're going to want to link problems to specific foods. When the problems get worse, what did he eat? You're going to need to do some research. You're going to have to be a detective here, because your doctor's not going to do it. You're going to have to do it.
Okay.
So jot down everything he eats and try to have him eat very simply, not complicated foods, and start off with his favorite foods. He'll like that. Spend all day eating his favorite foods, which is usually dairy, because kids need the fat and the protein. So have him eat ice cream or butter or milk or whatever his favorite dairy kind of foods is, or whatever his favorite food is all day, and then keep track of his bowel movements. You're going to do this for about a week or two, and you're going to get some information. Now, there's a second a parallel strategy that you're going to want to use in addition to this, and I say parallel because you're going to do them at the same time, but we got to take a break, so don't go away, and we'll finish up when we come back. I'm Pharmacist Ben. You're listening to The Bright Side on the Genesis Communication Network. We'll be back after this. Okay, we are back on The Bright Side. Holly in Nebraska with Sotos syndrome. Your child has Sotos syndrome. I hadn't heard of that, but I had heard of something called gigantism.
Oh, okay. It's rare. It's supposed to be 1 in 14,000.
Okay, yeah. I hadn't heard of it. In any case, digestive issues, could go two ways, as you pointed out, constipation or loose stools. Either way, it's a sign of a freaked out digestive system. In the case of constipation, it's like a freezing syndrome. The intestines are so sensitized and so inflamed, they don't want to move. And that's what constipation is. Loose stools are a sign that the body's trying to eliminate something quickly. Either way, something's getting into the system that shouldn't be there, and you need to keep track of it. And that means a food diary. And you should be doing that anyway for the rest of his life, pretty much.
Okay.
Isolating the foods that are causing problems, and then eliminating them. Start with his favorite foods, and try not to eat complicated foods. Secondly, parallel to this strategy, you're going to want to use probiotics. If he's not already, you should be on him today. I wouldn't waste a day. Is he using any probiotic supplements?
Well, my mother-in-law bought us one, but it seemed like it made it worse, and I was wondering if it was the dairy.
No, there's no dairy in probiotics. The bacteria, something like lactobacillus and stuff, is some of the bacteria produce lactic acid, etc. So people get confused that way.
Okay.
But I tried the Biolumin Nightly Essence. Give him 2 capsules in the morning, 2 capsules at night. How much does he weigh?
He's probably about 60 pounds.
Yeah, 2 capsules in the morning, 2 capsules at night. Have him do a little tiny bit of apple cider vinegar after all of his meals. That might help. If you can get him to eat fermented foods, that will help. Also use soups, especially high-protein soups. I call bone soup, chicken soup, bone broth, that kind of thing. So he'll get protein and he'll get some healing nutrients for the digestive tract. The cartilage in chicken especially, as it dissolves into the water to make the soup, makes some awesome medicine for the digestive tract and for building and other things as well.
Okay.
I'd be concerned that he's not absorbing fats. Excuse me. When you have an intestinal problem, you don't absorb fats, and fats are important for his brain as well as for just general growth. So make sure that you're using fatty supplements, essential fatty acid supplements, and probably a liquid essential fatty acid supplement might be good for him. Get him something like Udo's Blend or maybe a little fish oil, and have him do a little bit of both of those with foods and see what happens. See what happens with his digestive system. Sometimes if he gets a little diarrhea or loose stool after he does his fats, that's a major sign that he's got malabsorption issues, and you're going to want to correct those. Coconut oil would be very helpful for him as well. If you notice that he's got problems with fat absorption, he starts to take his fats and then he ends up with diarrhea or he ends up with pain or some digestive discomfort, then you're going to want to make absolutely sure that he's using his fatty nutrients with lecithin. I'll spell that for you. Do you know what that is? Lecithin? Lecithin granules, Lecithin, and that will help him absorb his fats.
Okay.
And then you might also want to make sure he's using some digestive enzymes, the ultimate enzymes with his meals, and always use apple cider vinegar with the ultimate enzymes. And one last thing, if he does have some fat malabsorption issues, bile salts might help him as well. You know what, there's so many things you could do, and I can't really give you, in the 2 or 3 minutes I have for you, I can't give you everything, but if you shoot me an email with your phone number on there, you can give me a few days, I'll get back to you and I'll give you some more information. Mostly you want to focus on foods and then also fat absorption. That's what I'd be working with, and then the probiotics.
Okay, and what was the name of the 2 capsules that you said in the very...
Biolumin Nightly Essence. Call 866-735-2470. Tell them you want the Nightly Essence. And then the oil you're talking about, Udo's Blend. Is that what you're talking about? UDO.
Okay, Udo's Blend. Okay.
Udo's Blend, yes. And then I told you a bunch of stuff. Bile salts, lecithin granules. You know, he's going to need some really good nutrition if he's got a digestive problem at the age of 5, because this is when his body's building, and if he's not absorbing nutrients, it's going to have implications for the rest of his life. So now is the time you really want to start focusing on digestive health and absorption.
Okay.
Okay, thanks so much, Holly. God bless. Have a beautiful day. All right, Karl, Truth Raider, what's up, man?
Good morning, Ben. How are you today?
I'm doing good. What's going on? How can we help you, bro?
Well, this is the Truth Raider of Northwest Truth.
Yes.
And I had a little minutia to clear up for the listeners really quick. When the listeners call in, hey, listeners, when you hear a sound, that is an electronic FCC radio air delay.
Really?
So
I didn't know that.
You're not being disconnected with your call. That's just a delay.
Interesting.
For radio purposes.
Right.
So when people call in, they wonder if they're on the air or not sometimes. And they're probably just not used to that, hearing that sound. They think that they're being disconnected from the line.
Okay, how can I help you, Truth Raider? Got about 3 minutes. I want to get some calls.
We're going to talk about nascent iodine today.
Okay, what's going on?
I had some nascent iodine that I ordered, got in, and it is very powerful. This is called the X2, so it's twice the potency, and it's like a maroon-colored fluid in a dropper bottle. I take at least 1 drop, but not much more than 1 drop per day. So when people get it and take more than 1 drop, they might experience a Herxheimer response.
Wait a minute. What's a Herxheimer response?
That's when the body is trying to, when you take the product, it escalates the body's elimination process of poisons, particularly out of the thyroid gland.
Okay.
So what happens, people feel a little bit
they get
sick.
toxic as the toxins are released. That's called
correct.
a Herxheimer response. I got to look into that.
That's correct. And it gives you a little bit of a buzzing feeling if you're taking it for the first time, because this is twice as powerful as the other nascent iodine product. So when you take it, it's kind of a sweet flavor, but I'll warn people, it's like sweetened up rocket fuel. It's pretty strong.
Give me a couple things you noticed real quick, and then I'm going to let you go. I want to get to a couple more calls. Give me a couple of things.
Well, it burns a little bit for a second, and then you get a rush of like a blood pressure rush in the head. You feel like you've drank about 10 cups of coffee or something. All of a sudden, you got this charge, and you just feel pumped up. You just feel escalated.
From one drop?
From a one or two drops. If you
right away?
Too much.
You notice it right away?
Well, I noticed it right away, but it goes away after about a day or two, and then you get used to it. So, but it is terrific, and it improves your mental acuity. As I said, it escalates and brings up the body's processes of elimination of toxins and poisons in the system. So it's good stuff. So I wanted to just share that with the people out there, what to expect when they take nascent iodine.
Where'd you get this one?
This one I ordered through Dr. Group's
Dr. Group. Okay,
Shield
good.
Company.
Good deal. Dr. Group's a good guy. I'm going to have him on the air here hopefully sometime soon. Thanks so much, Karl. Appreciate it.
Great. You got it.
Take care, man. Bye. All right, Leon, let's see if we can get your question answered here. What's up, buddy? How you doing, man?
Yeah, I recently, last week, originally back last year or a year ago, and then this year, about a month or so ago, I got some deep chills, and we thought it was flu or something, but it apparently wasn't. So the doctor wanted to have me checked out. Anyway, he did a CT scan and the other kind of scan with sonar, and he found my left-hand kidney has a water cyst, he called it. Is there anything I can do for that?
You don't treat a water cyst. You don't treat a cyst. What you do is you treat the body, because a cyst is a sign that something's going wrong. Cysts are excess growth. Cells usually grow in an orderly fashion, and we don't notice them, but when cells grow in a disorganized fashion, chaotically in an out-of-control fashion, cysts form. There's two major reasons why this occurs, and this is kidney cysts or cysts on the skin or ovarian cysts or wherever you have a cyst. You've got out-of-control cell growth, and that usually means problems with the hormone insulin, and secondly, problems with the hormone estrogen. Now, the fact that it's on your kidney tells me you may have a kidney issue. How old are you, Leon? You're in 50s or 60s?
68.
All right. So, they tell you have blood sugar problems? Because that's the first thing you want to think about is blood sugar issues. Diabetes, blood sugar problems.
I passed that before. There was a time before I lost a lot of weight that I was pre-diabetic.
No, the cyst is a sign that you still have blood sugar problems. So that's how you want to treat that, as a blood sugar issue. You want to use your cyst as a diagnostic tool. It's not the enemy, it's your friend. It's telling you something's wrong. So first thing you want to do is start to do all the diabetic strategies. That means less food, number one, and certainly less insulin spiking food or blood sugar spiking food, pasta and rice and sweets, etc., fruit juice, cereals, breads. And then more protein and more coconut oil. This is a general strategy for pretty much for everybody, but especially if you're dealing with blood sugar problems. But we're all kind of dealing with blood sugar problems just by being alive and subsisting on the standard American diet. So less food and less blood sugar spiking food, more protein, more coconut oil. Then you want to make sure you're using your micronutrients, especially sugar handling micronutrients. Those tend to be water soluble, and we pee them out, we urinate them out. So if you're not supplementing, chances are pretty good you're going to be running low in your sugar metabolizing, sugar processing nutrients. Chromium and vanadium are must-haves. Leon, you should get on the sweeties right away. The entire B complex is a must-have, and I'd be using the Beyond Tangy Tangerine. You might want to take a little extra thiamine, vitamin B1, and a little extra niacin, vitamin B3. It wouldn't be a bad idea if you want to go all out for you to do the whole Healthy Start Pack, because the magnesium and the essential fatty acids will also help you handle sugar. If you have any digestive issues, those need to be corrected as well. So treat cysts, all growths, as number one, a problem with blood sugar, number two, a problem with estrogen and fats, and that means digestive issues. You might also, if you're so inclined, try some progesterone cream. Sometimes that helps balance out excess estrogen. It's all the time we have for today. I'm sorry, Leon, there's way more I want to tell you. You can call back on Monday and we can finish up if you like.
Can I email you?
Yes, sure can. Ben@ksco.com. Put your phone number on there. That's all the time we have for today, folks. I'm Pharmacist Ben. Have a spectacular, wonderful day. We'll talk to y'all later now. Bye for now.